Thank you. Ben Thompson is our business correspondent. Well, let's talk to Priti Patel, who is the new Employment Minister. Good morning to you. Congratulations on your new job. And what's your main role in it?
Well, you know, today we're here speaking about employment figures. Employment has reached an all-time high at 73.5%. And really, this is a testament to our long-term economic plan, the work that the government has been doing with our focus on job creation, you know, creating the right economic conditions for businesses to expand and grow so that they can employ people again. So this is very welcome news today.
Right, OK. What do you say about those 735,000 young people out of work?
Well, we've been very clear about our focus on young people in particular. In fact, the Prime Minister only just recently spoke about that additional focus where young people are not in training, not in employment. We will have programmes to give them work experience, real employment opportunities to give them skills and training. And that is absolutely right and proper. I think it's also worth pointing out that when it comes to youth employment has been growing. We've created more jobs for young people than all of Europe put together. And again, that's incredibly welcome because these are real jobs and real career prospects and real career opportunities for our young people.
Your goal in your new job then is what?
Well, to keep on creating more jobs, to secure our economy, to create a brighter economic future. And we will continue to do that by, as we did in the last Parliament, the last government, creating 1,000 new jobs every single day. We created over 2 million jobs in the last Parliament, and the Prime Minister is clear. We will continue to do that. We want to see a situation and a position where we have full employment. And by creating the right environment for businesses, more jobs to be created, yes, 2 million more new jobs, more new apprenticeship places as well. 3 million new apprenticeship positions we want to create. And it is about securing Britain's future but having better and stronger prospects for people across the country.
Do you think there are people, I mean, we've got these average earnings figures, 2.2% up year on year. Do you think there are people who are still not feeling that yet or not?
Well, I think when we look back to where we started back in 2010, we had the Great Recession and, of course, jobs were lost and people's incomes fell. What we have seen, though, is that through growth in the economy, through more employment, strong employment, you know, we're talking that 80% of the jobs that have been created are full-time jobs, wages are rising by 2.2%.
But do you think everyone's feeling the benefit of that?
It takes time, Victoria, it takes time, obviously, for that to filter through. But outside of wages increasing, don't forget as well, we brought in measures to cut the level of tax as well, personal tax. We've had increases in the personal allowance, which means that people will keep more of their hard-earned cash, and that's incredibly important when it comes to them having more of their own money and seeing that they feel better off as well financially.
During the election campaign, before your party won its majority, you weren't able to explain in an interview with my colleague Eddie Mair on Radio 4 how the Conservatives would fund that minimum of £8 billion for the NHS by 2020. Now you've won the election, can you tell us?
Well, we're clear that we are very much focused on having a balanced economic plan where we will see a continuation of growth in the economy, but actually a balanced plan in terms of government spending, you know, making difficult decisions actually when it comes to dealing with government waste in government departments, but also continuing to grow the economy and making sure that we are resourcing the NHS in the right way, in the proper way, and that £8 billion as the Simon Stevens plan pointed out.
And where does that £8 billion minimum come from?
It'll come from the continual growth in our spending in the NHS, but also, as I've just indicated,
in order to spend it, you have to get
Victoria,
it from somewhere.
Of course we do. We've
so where
been
will you
clear
get
that
it
obviously
from?
there'll be consolidation. We will be making savings, efficiency savings in this Parliament through other government departments. And the NHS, of course, will continue to grow. Our spending in the NHS will continue to grow, as it did in the last Parliament. We were invested in the NHS quite rightly in the last Parliament, and we will continue to do exactly the same this time round.
And do you know, now you've won, how you'll fund £7 billion worth of tax cuts?
We will continue to, our commitment to tax cuts for individuals, for hard-working individuals and families is very clear. That will come through growing the economy. We're clear on that, through creating more jobs and obviously more income and revenues coming into the exchequer, but also through our wider balance plan when it comes to balancing the books. We've spoken about consolidation where that is required, and obviously that'll come with the wider plan that we have for the economy and how we manage the government's books as well.
And do you know how you will reduce the deficit to zero by 2018 and how you will, after that, achieve a budget surplus?
Well, we have said consistently before the election as well that economic growth is absolutely crucial. More jobs are at the heart of our economy.
This is a lot of growth you're going to have to achieve to pay for all this stuff.
And Victoria, let's not forget there were naysayers.
What percentage of growth do you think you'll need by 2020 to pay for all this?
In the last Parliament, don't forget we had consolidation in the last Parliament of over 120
You're not letting me forget. I'm asking you how much will the economy have to grow by 2020 in order to pay off the debt? Sorry, I'm asking you by what percentage in order to fund the £7 billion worth of tax cuts, to fund the £8 billion for the NHS by 2020, to pay off the deficit, which, as you know, is how much at the moment?
Victoria, we have a balanced plan in terms of how we will approach the economy.
How much is the deficit at the moment?
In terms of growth and job creation, but also importantly, it's that balanced plan that will lead us to get back into surplus in 2017 and 18, where we can then invest, as we will, with GDP growing, into our public services again.
But you're also talking about reducing the deficit to zero and then having a surplus. How much is the deficit at the moment?
We will continue to deal with the deficit. The deficit was halved under the last government, and we'll continue to
as
get
a
that
proportion
down.
of GDP. Do you know how much the deficit is at the moment?
Back into 2017 and 2018, we will continue to make sure that we get back into surplus and that we continue to grow the economy and invest in our public services.
What is the deficit at the moment?
As I've said, Victoria, we will continue. The deficit was halved in the last 5 years.
As a proportion of GDP. I'm asking for you in cash terms.
We brought it down from over 10% to now 5%, and we will continue to reduce the deficit. And as I've said, we will balance the books and get back into surplus in 2017 and 2018.
It's 87 billion at the moment, so you're talking about reducing that to zero and then having a surplus. I'm asking you, how much as a percentage will the economy have to grow by 2020 in order to deliver all these many things that you promised in your manifesto? I can tell you that the OBR forecasts are that it will grow about just under 2.5% each year. Is that enough to get rid of that deficit of 87 billion, then have a surplus, find 8 billion for the NHS, fund £7 billion worth of tax cuts, and all without raising income tax, VAT, etc., etc.?
We've been very clear that we will not be raising taxes.
I know you have. I'm asking you about how much you think the economy will have to grow.
The economy is doing well, and the economy will continue to grow by having the right conditions to enable businesses to create jobs, employ people, and obviously, you know, for us, it's about being an attractive country for foreign direct investment as well, for businesses to invest in the United Kingdom and to grow our economy. And you can only achieve that by having a balanced plan, not a plan that would put up taxes, which of course is what the opposition were proposing during the election campaign. This is about having a long-term economic plan, continuing what we did in the last government as well, to secure our economy for a better and brighter future for the UK.
Do you know, now you've won, which benefits you're going to cut to save 12 billion in welfare?
We have said that when it comes to 12 billion, we will find, when it comes to the 12 billion in terms of welfare, we will base that upon three principles, which is protecting the vulnerable, protecting the disabled, pensioners, but also equally importantly as well, getting people back into work and making sure that work pays. So this will be a continuation of our welfare reform programmes.
Aren't you curious as to the details? I mean, as you sat around that cabinet table the other day, did you not ask Ian Duncan-Smith?
We are clear, Victoria, with the 12 billion that we will, through continuing growth in the economy, getting more people back into work through the continual rollout of universal credit as well, getting work to pay, more jobs being created, that those welfare savings will come. And in addition to that as well, we have said that we will freeze benefits, in-work benefits for 2 years, which will save £2 billion as well. But also, you know, we are planning to do this in a balanced and a fair way. And as I've said, we will protect pensioners, we'll protect the vulnerable, we'll protect disabled people. And of course, you know, it is about work, it's about employment, it's getting people off welfare and back into work, which of course creates a better future for individuals and for our country and our economy as a whole.
Your last job was in the Treasury. Do you know how you'll find £5 billion worth in tax avoidance and tax evasion?
Well, we were clear as well in the Treasury, and we're very clear right now that we will clamp down on aggressive tax avoidance and evasion. Well, through the continuation of many of the policies that we put in place previously. In the last finance bill, just before Parliament broke up, we brought in new measures, very clear measures on aggressive tax avoidance and evasion, general avoidance rules, These are the rules that we have now put in place to ensure that we are bringing in more money to the exchequer when it comes to tax avoidance and tax evasion.
Your former Treasurer, Lord Fink, said recently, everyone does tax avoidance. Do you?
Of course not. I mean, that is not appropriate. That really isn't. I mean, I pay all my taxes quite rightly and quite properly, and our tax system is there to ensure that people pay the right taxes in a fair, open and transparent way. But let me go back to that point about, the measures that we took in the last Parliament, in the last government, when it came to tax evasion and avoidance. We put in over 40 procedures, 40 policies, which the previous Labour governments failed to do over their 13 years in government. We have closed down many loopholes. There were more that we put into the finance bill in March 2015, and we will continue, quite rightly, to clamp down on aggressive tax evasion and avoidance.
A final question about jobs again, which is your new brief. These figures are just into us, and it's to do with migrant workers. The number of people from the European Union working in the UK has increased to almost 2 million. That's from the Office for National Statistics, and that's between January and March this year. How do you react to that? It's an increase, by the way, of 10% on the previous year.
Well, first of all, I think it's important to stress and emphasise that 90% of the jobs in the UK have gone to UK nationals. Now, when it comes to EU workers coming to the United Kingdom, let's be very clear about this. Firstly, we have clamped down, we've changed and we've controlled our immigration system so that people coming to the UK to work from the European Union do not have the free-for-all when it came to the access to benefits that existed previously. So they are coming to the United Kingdom to work and to contribute to our economy, and that is right and proper.
OK, it's an increase of 10.8% though. Do you welcome that, or are you disappointed?
I think, Victoria, it's also a reflection, let's be clear, it's also a reflection on, the situation in other European economies as well. They are not creating the jobs. We are creating the jobs. They don't have the employment record that we have in the United Kingdom. We're proud of our employment record. Our economy is growing. There are more jobs being created than ever before, as we've said, 1,000 new jobs every single day. But it is a reflection on the state of the European countries as well. But as I've said, people are coming to the United Kingdom to work and to contribute to our economy, and through the measures that we've taken through our immigration controls and our changes, they are not here claiming benefits and welfare.
Thank you for talking to us, Employment Minister Priti Patel. Now, doctors are being told to cut down on, quote, useless treatments and let patients know that doing nothing can often be the best approach. It's a new campaign today saying that there's too much pressure to do something at each consultation, even if it is potentially harmful. Things like having an X-ray for back pain or taking drugs for slightly high blood pressure. And that pressure's not just from patients. There's a warning that the NHS payment system can also encourage it. Let's talk to Dr. Aseem Malhotra, who's a cardiologist who is leading this campaign effectively. Welcome to you. Hello.
Hi there, Victoria.
So, be honest, what have you administered in terms of treatment or prescriptions?